Welcome back to another JIVij podcast. My name is JERiCK.
And I'm Felicia.
Hey, happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
We're in the middle of the holidays right now.
Well, it's past the holidays.
Well, Thanksgiving, but not Christmas.
Ain't nobody celebrating Thanksgiving. I'm just kidding. I know, Christmas is coming up. I'm pretty excited about this Christmas.
Yeah?
Yeah. I got some big surprises for my son.
Oh, yeah, you told me.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And he has 2 concerts now that he's going to go to.
Oh, yeah?
Because it just so happened that Kendrick's concert is going to be literally the day after Stray Kids.
Wait, so you're going to watch Stray Kids and then Kendrick
And then
the next day?
Kendrick the next day with Anthony. Yeah, oh my God.
Wait, is Anthony going to go watch?
No, Anthony's not going to watch Stray Kids. He's like, it's just not my vibe. It's like, I don't even know their names. I only know 2.
Fair. Hey, I mean, if he doesn't really like Stray Kids, then, you know.
I mean, he likes it. I just think he doesn't want to admit that he likes it. Because he's very well-rounded in music. So I think he likes a lot of things. He just, I don't think he understands like this fandom thing that I'm in.
Nobody understands that.
Yes, they do. Many people do. Okay, including my son.
You know, there's this new group that I've...
No, don't care. I'm just kidding. Is it XG? I haven't listened to them yet.
They were really good. I'm gonna
Yeah.
send you one of their songs that you might actually like.
Yeah. I off the video that I saw the other day or the other week, you were playing it. You showed me.
I did?
You did.
Which one?
XG?
Oh, was it the Cypher?
I don't know.
The one there's like 4 of them were like rapping, right?
I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
But whatever I heard, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll get down with a girl one if they're rappers, if they're rapping. Christmas rapping. I'm just kidding. No, but I'm excited.
Yeah, I guess Christmas is for me.
Oh, well, look, I don't get anything for Christmas. And my husband and I have not done Christmas for each other in the last 3 years, I want to say. So we really just do it for Keelan.
So you guys not giving like each other gifts?
No, because we're trying to save.
Hey, fair enough.
So it's like, let's not do that. and then it's always like, make sure you really don't get a gift though.
It's like one of those like playing chickens.
Yeah,
It's like, are you really not gonna give me a gift?
So it's like, then you buy one, and then if you don't get one, you just return it. I'm just kidding.
Right? You just like hold,
I know.
like hide it somewhere.
Did you get me something? Asshole. I'm just kidding. No, we're not going to do that, but we do it for Keelan, and I think Keelan will be very happy with his gift.
Oh, I'm sure he loves Stray Kids, so
I know.
I'm sure.
And he also loves Kendrick.
Oh, then
So
there
he's
you go.
like he's getting the best of his both worlds.
And that's a cool gift too, because it's an experience.
I know.
So
and
he's not gonna forget it.
yeah, and I definitely think he's in the age now where he's going to remember.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of us for being able to get tickets and take him.
Hey,
So.
that should be fun.
It's in May.
In May?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, it's so far away.
Oh.
But it's okay because it gives me time to work out on my Peloton, which no, I did not do it until
So
today.
you have the energy to wild out.
No, I have the energy to not wear a sweater. It's going to be hot. I'm like, I'm not going to be drenched in sweat. I don't want to be. I sweat regardless. So,
I feel like concerts are usually kind of hot.
yeah.
'Cause
My
so many
goal
people.
is to not wear a sweatshirt, wear a regular. Well, I want to try and wear a fun outfit, but also not worry about wearing any makeup because I know I'm going to sweat anyways. So have good skin. Work on my skincare.
There you go.
Work on my health. We're fine.
You should have been doing that. Like
Quiet.
that should have been your lifestyle.
I know. I had some problems. We're getting to it. We're getting on it. I'm getting on it.
Well, at least you have some motivation.
I
to do
mean,
something.
I got quite a few months. So if I don't, that's on me if I don't take care of it.
There you go.
But I'm excited. And I've been active on TikTok. So follow my journey. Follow my TikTok journey.
Yeah, I've never been into TikTok. It's just, I don't know.
I feel like
Weird.
what's interesting is it's only been a couple days, mind you. But I seem to have more fun doing things for TikTok because I feel like my Instagram is already set with its path. Like it
it's-
has to
it's
be photography.
too- It's too like
Yeah. So it's if I try to sprinkle in all the other things in my Instagram page, it might throw people off. But then again, like, why should I care? With TikTok, I really don't know what I'm doing. And that is exactly what my videos look like. Me not knowing what I'm doing. So I'm literally just being myself.
hey, that's good. I feel like that was kind of like the original intent, I feel like, of
Yeah.
social media, of just showing yourself. But
Yeah.
now it's just become such a business minded.
Yeah. And people really get into it, especially with the lifestyle blogging. Blogging's writing. But vlogging, I can't do that because, I mean, these people got like 10 different phones sitting somewhere.
Wait, do they do it on TikTok too?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like they do little vlogs. Because imagine, you're recording yourself and then, you going out your door. But if you used your phone to record yourself going out your door,
Yeah.
you had to go back and get to your phone so you can bring your phone out of the door. And then, you know what I mean? So it's like this constant interruption. So I'm not going to do that. I'm literally like, hey.
Yeah, when I used to vlog, I used to do that. I would just like place the camera, walk into the frame, and then pick up the camera and then set it
No.
up again. And like,
Ain't nobody got that time of commitment.
it was
Not me.
It was kind of fun, but like it was weird when I'm like hanging out with friends.
Yeah.
But then they got used to it, where I'm just like, all right, let JERiCK set up the camera so we can all walk into the thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm not going to be that serious, though. If you don't want to be that serious, watch my TikToks. I think I'm kind of funny. I don't know. I'm not meant to be like the cute, sexy TikToker.
It's funny that we had a conversation a couple of weeks ago about like structure.
Yeah.
And now you're
Oh my
such a like,
God, yeah.
you're like the opposite of structure.
Well, look, TikTok is different because I don't have to worry about what I got to do. But for something like this, I got to worry about what I got to do because I got to talk. It doesn't change. Don't you think it changes? There probably is structure. There's probably a method to my madness. I just haven't figured it out yet.
I think everybody has their own kind of quirky ways of doing things, which I totally understand because I kind of have my own thing too. Especially when it comes to like my workflow, I feel like I need it. Like when things are optimized, when like there's like templates and like I feel like I want to do work.
Right.
When it's not, when it's so chaotic, it's weird because like
discouraged?
when I talk about the podcast, right, I just want it to be like kind of whatever, freestyle, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's fine for me. This is kind of like my TikTok in a way.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Not that it's like chaotic, but it's like I'm just kind of freestyling here.
Yeah.
But when it comes to everything else, I like it to be structured.
Interesting.
But yeah, I guess that's a good segue to today's topic then.
Yes. And what is today's topic?
Generating ideas, creative ideas.
Creative ideas. Generation.
Yeah.
Not generative AI. I'm just kidding.
That's the next topic.
I know. Don't get ahead of yourself, Felicia.
But you want to start it off?
Sure.
I know you have some notes.
Oh, I
taken.
do. I'm the note person now. All right. So, I think I just want to start off with going into how I generate ideas, right? Because obviously I do photography and I've always done artsy things. And prior, a lot of my inspiration just came from things that I've seen. And I get this inkling or this itch to be like, oh, I can do that.
Yeah.
I'm definitely like an I can do that person. And I'm pretty good at it when I do it, but I've never fully committed myself to any one thing. And so now with photography, I feel like photography has always meant to be that path for me. I just realized it much later because I had already for years, like 10 years, 15 years ago, was thinking of ideas and concepts for these series, like photo series. And I think I've mentioned it before, but I never understood why because I wasn't taking photos. But they've always have been in my head.
Have you heard of this? So I'm not trying to cut you off, but have you heard of this idea where I think Pharrell mentioned it. I mean, other artists have mentioned it before too. It's kind of like you are just kind of like the antenna for like ideas. And then you just kind of like, I guess, in a way, you're just a receiver of ideas instead of like really like coming up with it.
Right. They just come to you. Yeah.
Yeah. So that might have been like for you like 10 years ago, like you got this idea, but I guess you just weren't like mentally ready. Or,
right.
You know.
Yeah. I wasn't in the right time of my life to execute.
Yeah.
And I honestly thought it would be someone else that would execute.
Yeah.
Because at the time, like you and PJ were actively shooting. And then towards the end, when I started meeting other photographers or videographers, I'm like, ooh, you know, I would even go through the part of consultations to identify, you know, what I wanted to do and how it should be shot. But nothing ever fell through. And then now it just all makes sense.
Yeah.
But I have heard that where you are a receiver for ideas. I've also read a book. I think it's called Black Magic. I want to say it's called Black Magic.
You told me about this book
Yeah,
before.
and I might have said it already on the podcast, but the idea behind it, I want to read it again so it's fresh in my mind, but from what I remember reading is ideas are energy. So they're like flowing through right now. There's all these ideas, right? And so this energy wants to find a home, but whatever home they find, that individual would need to essentially fulfill that energy's desire or what they're trying to become. And the minute you don't, or you don't make this agreement with that thought or energy, that energy idea, then it's going to leave you and it's going to go to somebody else. And in the book, I recall the author explaining basically when you have an idea and you don't do anything about it, and then 2 weeks or a month or a year from now, you see someone do exactly what you thought of, and you're like, shit.
Yeah.
You know, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, because like Pharrell had this like metaphor of it's kind of like you go to a library and you're just checking out ideas.
Wow.
Yeah, so like he keeps saying like use that library card, you know, otherwise it's just gonna go wasted.
But see, that's the thing too. If you're going to follow that, then don't forget about the action that comes after that. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
Like, don't just be
like
checking
executing?
out. Yeah, don't just be checking out all the books, and then now it's just a pile of books on your,
I think,
on your desktop.
Yeah, I think when we say checking out, that means you have to read the book too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
read the book.
So it means you actually have to execute on those ideas because everybody got ideas.
And it has to be something that you're interested in too. So I actually really like that analogy because it's exactly that. I mean, when you go to a library, which I haven't been to in a while, I just took my son like 4 months ago. And shame on me though. Because
it's been a long time. Like, I don't even remember the last time.
I have a library card now. It was like being in Disneyland for me. I'm like, oh, I forgot how fun this was.
Well, like, is it kind of still the same thing?
It's definitely still the same thing. But I find joy in all those things now because I have a child. But it is that, like, you go to the library, you kind of know what genre you want to get into.
Like, you have an intention, right?
And
like, you
browse the books. You kind of see what catches your eye, but at the end of the day, whatever you check out or buy is something that you do have an interest in.
Yeah.
So you're not just mindlessly grabbing things. Although I have been known to do that. But that's okay. But I think right now where I'm at as far as generating ideas, it's a lot because when you have clients, most of the time, those ideas are theirs, right? So there's always a component of inspiration coming from a picture or pretty much pictures. I mean, Pinterest is probably one of the top things that I receive as far as mood boards to say, hey, this is what I want. And that's fine. But sometimes I struggle with not having the ability to have so much creative freedom. And I think that's where I've really fell in love with the idea of like that fine art photography, like the storytelling and the lighting and being in the studio and being able to control certain aspects. And inspiration for me, or at least how I generate the idea, a lot of it comes from experience.
Yeah, because I think there's a difference between commercial and art. Not just with photography, videos, but even with like music too.
Yeah.
You know? Like there's a difference between me writing for somebody or producing for somebody than me like creating my own thing.
Yeah.
Because like if I do write for somebody or I produce a music for them, obviously I'm gonna have to take account of like what they want and like their ideas, right? Because it's their song. So I have to kind of pay attention to like, all right, like that's what they want. Then, you know, even though like I don't necessarily agree, I still have to kind of do it, right?
It becomes transactional.
Yeah, it is. Because it is. It is, you know, they're paying you to do a service. But when you're making your own art, that means you can do whatever, really what you want.
It's liberating,
Yeah.
I feel, because, I mean, truly, the sky is the limit in that scenario because the only person that's going to stop you is yourself.
Yeah. And I feel like, I think that's why, I mean, I guess it goes to everything in art, right? Like, I'm just paying attention in, like, the music side. Like, a lot of the music these days is very cookie cutter.
Cookie cutter? What do you mean? What do you mean?
They're just starting to sound very similar and the same.
I think
it's because that's where, you know, like the money is, right? Like, oh, they want this specific type of music that generates, you know, money. And that's why you just see a lot of artists just kind of, I don't even know if like they're forced or like they do like those music.
I was going to say, because I don't follow music like I'm sure you do or a lot of other people do, but the stories that I have heard, especially when it comes to getting signed and working with a label, is a lot of what they want to do.
Yeah.
That's not what they do when they actually become that star. Like someone's fabricating that for them.
Exactly.
Which is why when you look at a lot of their older songs or older performances,
when they're just like,
it's like completely different. And you're like, dang, but that was really good. You know? And I think one of the artists, gosh, which one was it? Sarah Bareilles?
Oh, yeah.
I forgot the song, but it's Love Song, I think. I'm Not Gonna Write You a Love Song. I don't know if that's the title.
Oh, that's, I think I know.
But I think the story behind that, I hope I'm not butchering this, so if you're a fan, I'm sorry. But I think it was along the same lines where, like, no, I'm not gonna write you this song that you want me to write. You know what I mean? Like, I want to write my own stuff or have it be my own words. And I think
is that why the song is called that?
I'm not gonna write you a love song. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up that story. We'll look up that story.
But then that's very ironic because like she's kind of fighting against it, but then it blew up.
Right, but she was no longer with that group of
Oh, so that was after.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
That was after.
Oh, I see.
I'm gonna look at we'll talk about the story later.
Yeah.
But I think it was along those lines.
Yeah, that's interesting because I like a lot of these artists that I've heard are like forced to like create albums because they sign, let's say they sign a contract, right? Like, oh, we need 3 albums from you. You're gonna have to come up with something, yeah. Or like, because they can say no too. They have control over the creative.
Yeah.
Like if they don't like the stuff that you're putting out, like do it again, you know, until like basically. So it's kind of like
that's like working a 9 to 5, you know?
Yeah. Like
I don't know. Maybe it's bittersweet because I'm obviously not in that position, so I can't really speak to it. But God, it's almost like you go into art, or at least for me, I want to go into art to have that freedom.
Yeah.
So if I have to go into it, but I'm still in some capacity being controlled, then that takes the fun out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's how I was with music too, like playing the violin. Like I really enjoyed playing the violin, and I was really good and I got really good really fast. But I had so much outside pressure of, oh, you're really good, you know, you should think about doing this as your career, get a scholarship and yada, yada, yada. And the minute I had all that outside pressure, I was like, nope, it's not fun anymore. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and I miss it. And so I don't want myself to fall in that same trap where I feel like I have to go a certain way because that's what's going to make me money.
Yeah, especially like now that you found something that you really like and you really love, photography. Like, don't fall into that trap of making it your job sometimes.
Yeah,
Because sometimes it can, like, it's funny that we dream that this is gonna be like our job, right? But then it does come. It does, like, it sometimes it feels like a job. And that's what I'm really like trying to like avoid.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I like to force myself to just like be making something, be productive, and like something that because something like that I like really enjoyed in the beginning now is becoming like, man, this is coming work.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want that, and I think that's something that I finally have come to terms with, and I'm actually comfortable saying that I don't think I'm not gonna be in that commercial life, and nor do I want to be. But I also have the luxury of not having to put myself in that position because I still have another job, which I'm very grateful for. And I don't know, the idea of being able to just create what's literally on my mind just seems so fulfilling, because that's what it is. Like, normally what my process looks like, they come in random times. I'd be driving, I'd be doing all these things. So I have notes, I have voice notes, I have just random things that I just jot down really quick because I'm in a situation where I can't really, write it out. But I can see in my head what I want it to be. So I write down keywords or little descriptions, and then that's something that will eventually evolve. But I think where I've failed in that, or haven't been as successful, is the execution part. And I do believe it's because some of the ideas that I've generated they're a little strong, meaning it's not like the pretty fairy cool, like they're very dark.
Are you saying that the reason why it's hard for you to execute it is because it's controversial, or is it because you don't have the skills yet?
No, controversial. Yeah. But I don't know, like, I still get these ideas and I'm just like, just do it.
I think,
and I think that's the fear that I'm trying to get rid of, because that's what's going to stop me from actually doing what I want to do.
Yeah. And I think you're slowly getting there, because you doing TikTok and not giving a shit.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a small step towards that.
Yeah.
Because once you really like don't care anymore about the feedback,
right,
that's when you really kind of free to create.
Ooh, that excites me how you said that, honestly. Because in some of the things,
honestly, because I've sensed it with you that there's still kind of, you're holding back, even though yes, you kind of share a lot of things here,
right?
But I still sense that there's like things that you're kind of holding back.
No, there's a lot of other, especially creative things that are just swirling around in my head, and I'm just thankful that it hasn't really gone anywhere else. So now it's almost the time to say, okay, you really gotta just do it. And it's not that what I am thinking of or creating in my head isn't realistic. It's real event. Like, there are things that are happening in life. So why am I so afraid to put something out there that's a story that actually occurs to people's lives? You know what I mean? And I think some of it is just like, there's like sensory stuff, like trigger warning, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't see myself putting all my work on Instagram, because it's going to get flagged, right? Like, I had that one.
Oh, the maternity
one.
Yeah.
And it was it's a shadow one where it's backlit and she's shadow. And you could see that she had a nipple, like she had nipples, but you couldn't.
Free the nipples.
You couldn't see anything. It was like a dark shadow, and that thing got flagged. And I was so frustrated, because it frustrates me that there's these entities that are able to control what you can and cannot do.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you you can't fully express yourself on these platforms because you have to follow guidelines.
Yeah.
But it's okay if somebody else is thrown out a thirst trap because they're wearing a bikini and like, you know, barely covering their nipples. But I'm showing a mother who's honoring her last pregnancy, and that's not okay.
Yeah. And I think that's
okay
why
with
you
me.
just have to kind of create your own like platform, I guess. Like, you know, put it on your website or something.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying
because
to
like a lot of these like social media, right? I mean, it is free, so you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
We're using it for free, so like,
That's true.
you know, it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to kind of complain. But yeah, like, I think, yeah, just do it.
I know.
Like
I need to do it. I just need to find a different way to get myself out there. So it's probably going to turn into a lot more of, well, here's a picture of the series, but if you want to see the full series, go to my website.
Yeah.
And I really want to start tapping into the idea of selling my work for prints, because I do feel like I have some art or some photography that people would buy. And that's because people have told me too, you know, that they would, if I ever sold prints, that they would buy that. So if I sell a print, you better buy it.
I know, right? If you already said it, then you can't
I'm going to go
back.
straight to you, be like, here's the link. But I don't know, thinking about all of that, it's just so exciting. So I really look forward to, I guess, not generating more. I'm probably going to generate more ideas, but looking back at all the ideas I've already written down.
Yeah.
And just start executing, because that's why they're there. That's why they're in my head. And I like to stray away from looking at too much inspo.
Yeah, so you're not like
looking at other people, because for a minute I was like, oh, I don't want to look like that. Like, how do I make myself different? But regardless, though, whether you look at something for 10 minutes or 1 second, it's still imprinted in your mind.
Yeah.
So it's almost like you do get inspo from other things.
I feel like it's impossible to like turn off everything.
Yeah.
Because anything, literally anything, can just, you know, trigger inspiration or, you know.
Yeah. Like you see something or a color or a word that somebody says or a book, you know, you read a line from a book or a song comes on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's so much that can inspire you, but you're not always conscious of it. You're not always aware of what's feeding into you, you know, and then that's what helps generate that.
So when you get these ideas, do you get excited? Like, what do you feel?
I do.
Or is it just like, oh, there's another idea?
No, it's almost like a rush. I kind of want to explain it like my chest feels almost like when you're falling in love, kind of, and you get that feeling in your chest, and there's like this excitement.
Yeah.
Like I feel like when an idea and I come together and essentially agree to do something, it's like this rush of adrenaline and, you know, a short moment or a short spike of excitement. But that's where I have to get better, because I have that moment. I have like that dopamine hit.
Yeah.
And then I write it down and then I never go back to it. And I really need to stop doing that. And I just need to start executing, because that's going to catch up to me. You know, what's the use of me having all these ideas? And they're only going to stay in my head.
Yeah. And I think it's like sometimes we get caught up on, like, when we think about doing something, right? It's like, what's the point of this?
Yeah.
But the point is, it's just like having fun and doing it.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be like monetary or like some sort of, I guess, value at the end. Because sometimes I get caught with that too, where I get excited to like, you know, like I have an idea in my head to do something, right? But then I'm just like, it's not gonna make money, or it's not gonna like do anything, you know, like what's the point, right? But then
But I think that's the thing though, and I believe I've even read this, where if you change your perspective and you start, I think it was from You Are a Badass. I think that book.
Yeah.
Or it might have been Black Magic, I'm not too sure. But the idea is, if you do what you love, everything will fall into place.
Yeah.
Right? Because when you start worrying about money and the financial piece to it, and then all the business aspects, which, mind you, every creative path has to have some type of business aspect. But if you start thinking about that so much, I feel like you start losing a little bit of why you went into that or why you felt that creativity, because now your thoughts are occupied with, how do I make money? How do I do this?
Yeah.
Why am I not getting enough likes? Why am I not getting blown up? And I think I'm at the point now where I'm like, screw everybody. Screw you, Instagram, and your nipples.
Free the nipples.
Free the nipples. It was a maternity photo. I'm like hitting the microphone here, but I think I'm just going to pivot and do what I can on Instagram and not really worry about it too much, and kind of, I guess, go old school with it. I mean, how do all these other people make it before social media?
Yeah.
Right? Like word of mouth, getting yourself out there. You have your websites. That'll work out.
Yeah.
It'll work out.
Cool. Well,
is
there any more?
Yeah, let me go through, because I did look at this. I did my research. No, so obviously we were talking about generating ideas. So I did find something that talked about tools and techniques.
Ooh, okay, because I have my own techniques.
Okay, cool. So one of them is brainstorming strategies. And it gives a list. So free writing, mind mapping, group ideation. When I hear that, though, I feel like that's very business, like very professional. But if I were to brainstorm, honestly, I feel like that would be too forced for me. I'm not a brainstormer.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's like
you just get an idea.
I just get the storm.
Yeah,
there's no
the storm
weatherman
comes
in there.
to you.
I'm missing the weatherman. But I mean, it's true. Sometimes if you are stuck or having like a roadblock, and I actually gave this exercise to Anthony because he had a little bit of a roadblock as far as, I don't know what to do, or I don't know where I'm at. And I'm like, did you write down your ideas? And he's like, no. And I'm like, write down your ideas, because what it'll do is it'll take out everything that's in your mind, and your mind is already so busy that now you're seeing it a different light, right? And you actually can see it boom, 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 boom. And then that can sometimes help spark other inspiration or help you identify like, oh, no, I don't like that idea. Oh, I like this idea. Or, oh, I don't like that. And I don't know, he said it helped, so you're welcome. Another technique is reverse thinking, or what if scenarios. What do you think about that when you hear that? So techniques like reverse thinking or what if scenarios.
Are you talking about like reverse engineering things?
Bro, I don't know.
I mean, I feel like, well, that's what's coming to my head, right? When it comes to, when you said reverse thinking, I'm just thinking reverse engineering something.
Right.
So let's say, for example, music. I'm listening to music, and then in my head, I'm kind of breaking it all down. I'm breaking it down to like, what kind of kick is he using? What kind of snare? What kind of instruments? Like, that's kind of like breaking down every element of the song. And then, it's kind of like, because when you make a song, you're adding things, right? So me breaking it down is kind of like in reverse, I guess, in a way. When I listen to a song, I break every single element down.
Like deconstructing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's what they meant or not.
Well, I mean, again, it's their ideas. So.
Yeah.
And I think for me, when I think of reverse thinking, or especially the phrase "what if," it doesn't necessarily feed into the idea, but what it does is it makes me think, what if what if I didn't do this? Or what if I didn't follow through with the idea?
It's like,
You're gonna regret that.
It's kind of like in the execution.
Yeah. So it kind of comes in that execution phase.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know what reverse thinking is. If you know what reverse thinking is, you let me know. But that's what I read. It says,
Comment down below.
Generating ideas, reverse thinking. Okay.
So, like, let's go back to the tools and techniques. Like, do you have any that you kind of apply to your art?
I will definitely say music. I have a journal that I keep. So I keep that handy just to like write down ideas. I mean, I'm all over the place though. I got it in my notes. I got it on Post-it notes. I got it on my journal. I have like 10 journals. They're all in there somewhere. But having something that I can write my ideas down into, but I also know the way my brain works is I need quick access to write down an idea. So that's why I have it in so many places, because if I don't write it down, I'm going to forget. And that's why sometimes I do voice notes also. So I'll just do a voice note of like, what did you mean by yellow pants and black black flowers? Like, what the heck are you thinking of? But I think having the accessibility to just jot down what I'm thinking of is what I consider a technique that works for me. And then music. Like music, when I listen to songs, sometimes that'll help inspire me, or, you know, that'll give me, I think music, what it does for me is it brings me back to a certain point. And that's where a lot of my more personal projects, like that's what feeds that, is all those personal experiences. So putting myself in those situations actually helps. And I think the reason why so much is coming up is because I have been actively going through therapy, and I have to put myself in those situations. So now I'm trying to find a way to cope and not have it just be stuck in my head.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, well, I'm just going to put it out there, because then that's my release.
Yeah.
Right? You let it go.
It's funny because like when I made my first album, like I didn't really have an intention to put all like the stuff that I was going through, right? It was just like, oh, I want to make an album, I want to make music, I just want to have fun. And when I started making the music, like it all just came out.
Yeah.
It was like all the stuff that I was feeling. And like, because I didn't really understand it before when people say like, oh, they just like put your emotions out there and put it through the music, right? Like I didn't really understand that until like I experienced it myself. I'm like, oh, this is what, like
it is.
Artists are like saying that you're basically just putting whatever you're feeling, all the emotions, and just put it out into your art.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
that's what it is.
And that's why I feel like it's hard for me to write these days because I don't really have anything to say.
It makes sense.
Yeah. It's weird because like, yes, I could like maybe tap into it, but then it's like, I'm kind of like forcing, you know what I mean? Like forcing something out of it that is not there anymore. But I don't know. Maybe when I get into it again, like maybe it'll just come up.
I think you just need to, I don't want to say it's intuitive, but you'll know. It's like a feeling. And that's how I feel with photography. Like I haven't been so pressed to put stuff out or work on things because I just want to make sure that whatever I'm doing is intentional and that it feels right to me and it's genuine, right? I'm not just like power pumping stuff out because I got to put stuff out, you know? And if that's what you do, that's wonderful, but that's not who I am, and that's fine. You know, I just have to navigate my own path, even if currently I don't know who else is doing it the way I'm trying to do, you know what I mean? But I know there are people out there. I think it's just a matter of finding those people and that demographic, so you do have inspiration or people to look up to, or you know, people that you know maybe they can mentor you or in some capacity, because that's another way to learn. But books, especially when I'm doing more of the fashion stuff, like the editorial, I love looking at magazines or going through like old vintage stuff, like looking up Vogue and like fashion magazines or fashion books. I have a lot of books, you know, just to inspire. Because again, it's not always going to be me that is going to create. Like there's going to be a point where I do need to work with somebody and I have to create something for them. So especially when it's something I'm not familiar with, looking at visuals really helps. But I try to stay away from Pinterest. Because Pinterest to me is the cookie cutter.
Hey, that's
you know,
fair.
But when you see things that are published in a magazine, it was like it was worthy of being printed and put out on paper, and you know what I mean.
So
I
you're
feel
picky with your inspiration. I guess.
I'm picky.
Yeah,
and it's not always glamorous, and everybody wants to be glamorous. Blah.
Yeah, because like one thing for me that really helped me with my like, I guess workflow. Is having some sort of template Like, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, so just for example, like when I'm editing these podcasts, right? It's such like a system now that like it's easy for me to just like get in there, get it done.
Right.
Instead of like trying to figure out like how to do this every single time.
Like
especially
you have
especially if you want to be consistent, like that would be like the ideal. Like create a template for yourself where it's so easy for you to just like jump in
right.
and do the work instead of, because sometimes like we get ideas, right? And we get so excited, and then if it's like kind of like there's resistance or like there's some sort of like, I guess, something in the way,
Right.
like you would tend to like not want to do it.
Yeah.
When it's so hard.
Discourages you.
Yeah, it discourages
Or
you.
it's too hard now.
Yeah, because like, for example, when I used to do the podcast, I would have to fucking set up every single time. And it takes an hour to set up and it takes an hour to break down. And then it just makes me want to like not do it.
Right.
Like, so I was just kind of like forcing it, right? That's why it's good to have a space that where I could just like set the camera and then it's ready to go.
Right.
You know, like there's no like, I guess, such a
you just
hard
walk in,
process.
right.
Yeah, I just like walk in here and like record.
Yeah.
You know, so like that's why like I like to like optimize everything in my, I guess, my own kind of twisted way.
Right.
Or just like,
Well, it doesn't seem twisted. I mean,
Yeah.
it seems pretty logical.
Reasonable.
Yeah, I'm like, I think most people are like that.
yeah. So like if you are like watching right now and you're thinking like you want to do something, try to make it easy for yourself.
Yeah, don't make it harder.
Yeah.
Don't make it more complicating. Don't
Exactly.
think about it more than you need to.
Yeah, especially coming from an overthinker. Coming from overthinker, like stop thinking.
Yeah, honestly, because the more you like, for me, the more I think about it, the less and less and less it becomes me, and then the less and less likely it's gonna get out.
Yeah.
And then now it just goes poof, and it goes somewhere else, and then I see it somewhere else, and I get pissed off because I'm like, God damn it, I said I was gonna do that.
Yeah.
And Anthony, my husband, has had that with some of his designs. He'll be like, that little, like a bigger brand done it, it's on a billboard. And he'll be like, I literally have that same design in my computer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah.
And it's funny too because like I have all these ideas in my head, the things that I want to do, things that needs to get done that I haven't even like tried to do yet.
Yeah.
Like I wonder if it's those are like the books I have in my hand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, am I ready to check it out? Or
Maybe
like,
that's where brainstorming helps. Like, you're
Yeah.
not necessarily brainstorming new ideas, but you're kind of taking what you've already collected over the days or the months, and now you're just putting it in a different format. And I
Yeah.
think that's what I was trying to do with Anthony. I was like, just take it out of your head and
and especially like,
put it on paper.
I can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah. Then you got to do it.
Yeah, so I'm just like, fuck it. Like,
Figure
it's
it
time,
out.
it's time to go.
Get that TikTok. I'm just kidding.
And like, I think it's like, there's like a lot of YouTube stuff that I really want to do. And I've been really like excited to kind of do it.
Yeah.
One of it is like reaction videos.
Uh-huh.
And I know it was kind of, and the reason why like sometimes like I think about it is like pointless, right? Because like, you know, when you do a reaction, they're there to watch you watch their favorite artist. So it's kind of like,
Right.
they're not necessarily there for you.
But
And that's
they're
why it kind of,
watching it,
that's why it kind of turned me off a little bit, right? And I've been thinking about it more and more. Like, why am I wanting to do this?
Right.
You know, like music reaction, like movie reactions. And I think it kind of like processed in my head. Like, people that watch it, like even though they are there to watch their favorite artist or their favorite movie or whatever, right? They're still kind of connecting to you.
Right.
They're
Like,
kind of
there's
like,
something
you're
they're
that friend
relating. Yeah.
that they're like trying to like get that. They're waiting for your excitement, right? Like
Right.
they're watching you reacting to something. So it's there's still kind of like connection there.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm just like, maybe because like when I watch those reactions, I get excited and like I do have like some sort of like good feeling because I'm entertained by somebody like watching something, right?
That you also like.
Yeah, that I also like. It's kind of like I'm sharing that experience with them, and I was like, I think that's I get, because like I was thinking in my head like, what's the point of this, right? Like, it seems pointless,
Right?
But then I was like,
a lot of people do it.
Yeah, and then it's like, but like I'm somewhat like curing loneliness, I guess. You know what?
JERiCK's lonely, y'all. So
no, like
tap in.
Not me, but like
no, I know.
like other people,
you're
right?
Giving
like,
other people company.
Yeah, because in my head, I was like, all right, like I'm doing this podcast, very intentional, like, you know, self-development, like, I guess inspiring motivation or whatever. And reaction video, like, seems like not that.
Yeah, like
and
where
then,
does that fall into?
Yeah, and then in my head, I'm just like, should I do that? Because, like, does that really make a difference?
Right.
And then I think that's why I've been kind of turned off for a while. But then, like, why do I keep thinking about it? But when I do it though, like, I get excited. Like, I have fun.
I mean, I had fun too, but until you guys attacked me, I still haven't recovered from that. Beanie.
No, you just gotta freaking ignore that.
No, I
shit,
know.
yeah.
I'm just kidding. I don't really care. Although I felt like I do want to punch him, but don't be mean.
But anyways, I went on a tangent there.
It's all right. But yeah, I mean, I think it would be cool to hear other people or find out how other people generate their ideas, because I think it's so unique to the person.
It is different,
you
for
know,
everybody.
because it's in your mind, and sometimes I don't know how to explain it. Like, some people have asked, how do you come up with this? And I'm like, I don't know, I just thought of it.
Yeah, because I've talked about this.
How did you think of it?
I've talked about this in the podcast before too. When I make a song, and it's funny because like once it's done, like sometimes like I don't even know how I did that.
Yeah.
Like it just like
You were in a
magic
trance.
right there. Like it was there. Like it's done. And then in my head I was like, how did I do that? Like why did I make that choice?
Interesting.
Yeah. It is weird. It's just kind of like, oh, I'm done reading the book. Like freaking put it back in the library.
Yeah, that's interesting. I feel like that could be its own topic, because is that good or is that bad? You know what I mean? Because then it almost sounds like you weren't as present as you should have.
But I was present when I was making it.
Well, you didn't know how you did it.
But then some people have said it though, that like once you make that art, like it's like not yours anymore in a way.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Like
I see that.
It's like up to the universe, like, you know.
Well, yeah,
like,
because I think you fulfilled
your duty.
the idea, the energy, yeah.
Exactly.
And so now it's gonna go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Makes sense to me. See, creating voices. I'm just kidding.
That's general idea.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Is
you have
that it
anything
for-
else to say?
I don't know. No, I think that's it.
Yeah, I
Like,
think that's all I got.
yeah, I'm running out of ideas now.
No more generating.
Yeah. Like the library is closed.
Yeah, it's way late.
But yeah, I guess that's it for this episode. I mean, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. It's a little bit short, but
Yeah.
you know?
And if you do create, I would love to know how you go about your process.
Exactly. And
So-
also like,
Get your fingers warmed.
yeah, put down like what you create and your process, you know?
It'd be cool.
Because like it might be interesting to know if like there's similarities.
Yeah.
Like what if they're kind of the same as you know?
Yeah, write it down, because then I think next time if we get responses, I would like to read them. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah. Comment down below if you're still around, you know?
Yeah.
And I guess we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Peace.